where you want it.
Bay 12, please.
Hello there, Transformers fans, and welcome back to another Bay 12 video review. And today we are reviewing one of the most anticipated figures from the Rise of the Beast line, and an odd character to make an exclusive. I mean, the Buzzworthy Bumblebee line is great overall. I really, really like it, but I don't know if I like it for main issue releases of characters that are fan favorites and characters that are main characters that if you miss the boat on it, that's a pretty significant hole in your collection, in my opinion. I know a lot of the collecting community has been vocal about their dislike of Optimus being a Target exclusive and not just a regular Studio Series mainline release, especially since the mainline non-Studio Series version of Optimus Prime for Rise of the Beast is just kind of okay. It's not a great figure. It's one that we probably won't end up reviewing on Bay 12 just because it's a figure I didn't see the need to pick up because this is a much better version, and even it isn't perfect. I do have some issues with this figure, although they're pretty minor gripes. So here he is in the packaging. He's in that awesome bright yellow Buzzworthy Bumblebee packaging. This is number 102 in the Studio Series lineup. On the side, you've got some other shots of other characters from Rise of the Beasts, like Primal. You've got artwork of a different Optimus Prime. And on this side, you've got artwork of Rise of the Beasts Optimus. On the back, you've got shots of him in both robot and vehicle mode. And that is pretty much it for the packaging. And of course, we have that Studio Series backdrop as well. Looks like this is on the streets in Peru. And there is Optimus on his backdrop. And it looks really cool with the backdrop. I really dig it. And here is Optimus right out of the packaging. And I really like the new look. I would have liked a little bit more paint detail on this guy, especially with some of these like flat gray bits. I'm not too crazy about the flat gray bits on this figure, especially the lighter gray bits. I very much like the darker gray plastics that they went with on the earlier Studio Series Optimus Prime from the Bumblebee movie. And real quick for comparison, here he is next to the Studio Series Optimus Prime from the Bumblebee movie. And personally, between the two, I like the overall look of this figure more, especially with the colors of plastics they went with, because this feels more like a true Studio Series release, whereas color-wise, I don't know. I don't look at this and get that Studio Series feel. It just feels, just some of the plastic colors look a little too bright for me, and it feels more like a mainline figure than it does a Studio Series, although there's a clear distinction between this one and the mainline figure, because if you think this one might look a little bit cheap in some areas, especially with just the solid gray bits of plastic that we have, then wait until you see the mainline version, because it's way cheaper than this one in terms of paint application, detail, and quality of plastic. And that is at the same price point as this figure, which is weirdly disappointing, because I feel like as Transformer figures are getting more expensive, they definitely shouldn't be skimping on the detail. Now, they did definitely redo something on this figure that I didn't like about the previous figure, and that is the back is still completely unpainted, just like the other Studio Series Optimus Prime from Bumblebee. It's not supposed to be solid red, Hasbro. I mean, yes, I don't display my figure, you know, standing like this on shelf, but it still bugs me when it clearly looks unfinished. And that's kind of a shame, because overall, I still like this figure quite a bit, but there's just some things about it that could be a little bit better. And the color and paint detail is one of those things. This should be the same color gray as this area, I feel. These bits right here should be solid red in the same red color plastic as the rest. This should either be black like on the other version, or should just be red, or even maybe a slightly darker red just to break up this a little bit. This collar section is fine as gray, although it would be better as this dark gunmetal gray like so. And the same goes for the smokestacks, the inner robotic arm bits. I just don't really like this bright flat gray color that is just kind of all over him. And then you have some metallic painted bits, you know, just to break it up a little bit right here and on the grill, which is kind of nice. But then why aren't the smokestacks in that color? Why aren't the fuel tanks on his sides in that color? You know, it's just some of those little details where clearly they should have put some of that paint deco in other spots, and they just kind of didn't. But still, the figure itself does look pretty good despite all of that. It is way better than the regular mainline Rise of the Beasts figure, and the articulation is really good too. He is fully articulated, head is on a ball joint, fully articulated shoulders, up and down, upper bicep, double jointed elbows, wrist joints. You can, of course, also fold in the wrists to attach his weapons. Either the blaster barrel or the sword just plugs in right there. He can also just hold his sword in his hand. Waist, hips, you have these little hip panels that articulate up and down as well. Upper thigh, single jointed knees, side to side ankle joints, and the ankles are also on a ball joint as well. So you got some really good ankle articulation on this Optimus. As far as his weapons go, like I said, you can plug in the sword here on the side. There's this little peg. It plugs in on either hand. So you can have his sword on his right like he has it a lot in the movie. And you can transform either hand into his blaster like so as well, just by putting that attachment there on there. Now, the blaster is okay. Again, I don't like that it's that flat, bright gray plastic. Because it just, I don't know, it just doesn't look right to me. And I feel like it was probably based off of some concept art instead of actual movie screen grabs, because it's a little bit smaller than it should be, and there should just be a little bit more details going on. And I know there's some upgrade stuff popping up for this Optimus to make that better, but even still, it should have been better from the get-go, in my opinion. Like I said, I really like the new one, but honestly, between the two, if I was forced to choose one, I'd probably go with the Bumblebee Optimus over the new Rise of the Beasts Optimus, just because visually, this looks better than this does with all of the weird, just bright gray colors in places that it shouldn't be. Now, transformation is a lot of fun with this figure. I really like the transformation of this figure. We're going to start by untabbing this back section right here, and then we're going to open up the chest right here, and we're going to bring up this little panel right there. That's going to come up here. Now, that's not the same grill that's going to be on the front of the truck mode, so it's kind of interesting that you have this faux grill just where you can't really see it, because what we're going to do next is we're going to untab and rotate that whole head panel in, and then we're just going to close the front windows back up. So yeah, you don't really ever see it. You don't see it from the top. You don't really see it from the back. So it's a cool little bit of detail that they molded on there, but it's also kind of unnecessary at the same time. But I'm not really going to complain about extra detail that we didn't ask for, because it's better to get extra detail than not enough detail, in my opinion. Next, we're going to bring this up a little bit, rotate that waist all the way around, and we're going to bring that down, fold those wheels out, and then on this other hinge, bring this section all the way out, and once again, we're going to rotate that torso again so that this is facing the front like it should. And then we're going to take a break from this section, and we're going to do the legs. So for the legs, we're going to re-rotate that waist around, because we shouldn't have rotated that waist to begin with. That was my bad. That was a misstep. Next, we're going to untab these shin sections right here from the front of the legs and just kind of bring them up and out of the way, bring those down at an angle a little bit so those are nice and out of the way. Then we're going to come to these back gaps. We're going to rotate those all the way back like so. Next, we're going to rotate the feet facing in like so, and then tab that foot into place. Do the same thing over here, bring that in facing in like so, tab that foot into place, and then tab those legs together. And then we're going to take a break from the legs once again and come over here back to the torso section. Now that we're at the torso section, now we've got to do the arms to finish the front of the truck. So what we're going to do is you want to bring this shoulder all the way up like so, because it's going to make our moving this section so much easier for you. And then you're going to use the leverage of that to bring that all the way down so that it properly goes into place where it's supposed to. Because when he's in robot mode, it's facing up. But when he's in truck mode, you want it facing down. And if you have that arm to the side, that rotation and articulation in the shoulder is going to fight you on bringing that joint where you need it. So, like I said, have the arm up as you articulate it because it makes it so much easier. Next, we're going to bring the arm down low, bring that up, and open this panel, fold in the fist, close that panel back up, and then we're going to unfold all of these arm panels like so. Rotate that all the way around that elbow, and then push that arm into place and tab in all of those little bits that you need to tab in right there. We're almost done with this arm. We're going to rotate that section all the way down. We're going to rotate that panel down, and that's it for that side. Now we're going to do this side. Open that panel, put in the fist, extend that all the way out, rotate that arm all the way around, bring that up, bring that up, bring that joint down, bring that to the side, rotate that in on the side, and then bring that section all the way down. Close those little two bits from the top of the shoulders in the middle. Bring that panel down. Bring this whole section up. Tab that into place in the front of the truck right there. Next, we're going to bring these back up. This little bit's going to tab into that little bit. This little bit's going to tab into the front of the thigh there. So just make sure those meet into place. And then the smokestack is also going to peg in right here into the front of what was the shin. So you've got some decent points to secure that into place. Do the same thing over here. Bring that down, tab that in, peg that in, and last but not least, we're going to bring out the smokestack from inside the thigh and then tab in these little thigh panels into place. And there is Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime in his truck mode. And the truck mode I like less than the robot mode. Again, I don't like this flat gray grill. The flat gray grill is the most out of place detail on the front of the truck mode because you've got this cool metallic painted visor over the windshield. The actual grill is also metallic gray, but then, you know, this extra grill on top of it, or bars, whatever you want to call it, they're just flat gray, and it looks weird and out of place because in the movie it's not weirdly mixed matched like that. So I don't like that. And then you've got the metallic gray stripes going up the side of the cab, and then they turn into flat gray smokestacks, which also looks weird. And the fuel tanks, this whole side bit just being flat gray, just looks out of place and strange to me. Maybe it's just me, I don't know, maybe I'm just being nitpicky. But my absolute number one dislike about this figure in his truck mode is this. All of these extra bits hanging off from the legs. This is where it doesn't feel like a Studio Series figure to me in his alt mode. All of this just extra bits just hanging off looks bad, in my opinion. And it's weird because, again, I was excited for this figure. I still like this figure. It's still a good figure, but there are just things about it that could have and should have been done better, because the leg transformation on the other Studio Series Optimus Prime is really good and looks way better than, you know, all of these extra bits just kind of hanging off of him. And then you have his feet just sticking out of the back of the truck mode, which also looks just strange and out of place. It looks like they put all of this awesome work into engineering the frontmost portion of the vehicle mode for transformation, and then ran out of time when they were trying to get the rest of it in. And it just looks, it looks weird. It looks really, really weird. Real quick for comparison, here is the new Optimus Prime next to the Bumblebee Studio Series Optimus Prime. And as you can see, the Bumblebee version of Optimus looks much better and much, much cleaner in his truck mode. This is what I'm talking about. Look at the back. And look at the backs and tell me which one of these feels like a Studio Series figure to you. Is it this one or is it this one? For me, the answer is definitely this one. Look at how much cleaner that back is. Now, this one is still not perfect, of course, but way better than this. I don't know what happened here, like I said, but it's weird to me. And I definitely wouldn't have complained if they just did the same kind of leg assembly or something very similar to it so that it would fit with the new body style and mold they wanted to go with here and still look really good. I just, there's an old saying, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Well, this was not broken, and Hasbro tried to fix it, at least with the legs, and broke it a lot, because this back of the truck does not look good, especially next to this back of the truck. So I don't know. Hopefully maybe we get another more screen accurate Studio Series Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime at some point in the future that isn't a store exclusive, that fixes some of the problems that this one has, just because, yeah, some of that just, it just looks bad. And also, I don't like the mix-matched flat gray plastic just chilling on top. It looks weird and out of place. So many weird and out of place bits on this figure versus this figure. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to today's review featuring the new Studio Series number 102 Buzzworthy Bumblebee Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime. That was a real mouthful. Stay tuned for more Transformers reviews. Like and subscribe and follow us on social media. Check out our other website, cooltoyreview.com, and like and subscribe to that YouTube channel as well for some other awesome toy reviews and content. If you like Star Wars content, however, check out rebelscum.com every single day for daily Star Wars toy-related content and news. But also, if you're looking to buy awesome toys and merch, check out not only Bay 12 and Order 66 toys inside Order 66 Multiverse in the shops at Willowbend Mall in Plano, Texas, but also tune in to the Order 66 Toys Friday Night Live sale. It's up every single Friday night on the Order 66 Toys Facebook page. We'll see you guys later. We'll see you another time. Transform and roll out.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.